Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum German Cook in the East Village. My name is Andreas Tröger, Andreas here, and I'm gonna show you a couple of recipes since we're gonna go sit at home for a long time and gonna cook and not gonna be able to go out, so we want to do a couple of really inexpensive, cool dishes that last for a while, and I'll show you how to do this. So the first thing we're gonna do is like Tzatziki. That's basically Greek yogurt with garlic. So you need a Greek yogurt like this. Usually I get a whole milk because it has more flavor than this one. It's a non-fat, but non-fat is okay because we are was sold out, the other one. So we'll see. I have never used that before, so we're gonna figure out how that is. So the first thing we're gonna do is we peel some cucumbers. We do this first because they need to sit a little bit, like for 30 minutes, in order to get the water out of them. And if you don't get the water out, then the tzatziki becomes very thin, and that's not what you want. So we're gonna peel those. So I don't have a chef knife, I just use a sushi knife, and you can get those in Chinatown. They're really inexpensive down there, so you can buy them for $20, $30. I have this one here for, I don't know, 12 years, it's fine. Just give it a little once in a while and keep it sharp and clean, and that's it. Also, it's always good to have a little bit of a wet towel to keep everything clean, keep your workplace clean. So you have a clean working surface. So another good tool is these guys here. That's really very helpful to get the seeds out. So what you do, you have them like this, and then you scrape the seeds out before you cut them. So if you have different cucumbers that have not that many seeds, you could leave them in. I don't think it's a good idea, so I always take them out. But it's up to you. So if you have a Greek yogurt like this, then that's how much is the serving size? 170 gram, 2 to 3 cups. 3 cucumbers of that kind of size is usually good. That'll work. I've been in New York for 27 years, and I lived in Germany. I'm from Munich, Germany, and I lived through Chernobyl in Munich, and I lived through 9/11 here, and now we have COVID-19, which our president calls the Chinese virus. Doesn't get, whatever. So I'm not sure how that's gonna shake out. Maybe that's it for a lot of us, and we'll see. Alrighty then. So we have the cucumbers, and what we're gonna do is we discard those cucumber seeds. Clean out the bowl, and then what we do is we are using one of those. And we use that side here, that's the best side to use that. And then we raspel this in little chunks. A big shout out to my friend Garvey Rich, who gave me those cameras for now. He is like with his family on the upper east side. I called him today, but he hasn't called me back. I hope he's good. So wash this right away, because if you don't wash it right away, it gets sticky. And good. So we have the cucumber. Let's clean up a little bit. I use kosher salt. Kosher salt is the thing to use. This one is a little more salty than others, so don't use too much of that Morton salt. I mean, get a good amount on it, but the more salt you put on it, the less you want to put in later when you re-season it. So that should be fine. And what that does is it gets the water out. So what we need to do is basically put it in the fridge and let it sit for 30 minutes at least, so it dehydrates, and then we can use it. I show you another little trick how to get the water completely out, but that's what you do first. So you need to set it up like this because the water will come out by itself, and you put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. So we have like such, and while it's sitting in the fridge, we can prepare the other things. So what you need dill and you need mint, major ingredients, and then of course the yogurt and some garlic. And you could use a little bit of cayenne pepper or any other spicy pepper. It should be just really ground fine. And one lemon. That's it. So let's see how good that works. So I washed the dill already, so it's dry. And then I used the whole bushel. I mean, people say use like 3 or 4 tablespoons, which is this. This is like a tablespoon. So I like to cut it in small pieces like this. And then you can cut the stems too. That's just fine. If you don't have dill, then use mint only. The classic version, I think, is mint only, but I like to use mint and dill together. So I don't get all the way down to the thicker stems. I just leave them alone, and then that's the first thing that goes in. It's the dill. So mint is relatively expensive around here in the East Village. So I found one deli, a little Spanish deli on 2nd Avenue and 5th Street, which has the mint actually for $1, whereas anywhere else it's between $2 and $3. So if you want to save a little money, which is at the present time probably priority for a lot of people, this is where you go. So I try not to use the stems of the mint too much, so I, tear the leaves off like such and use them. But usually using the stems is fine. It's just a matter of taste. Alrighty. Okie dokie. So I show you a bunch of German dishes down the road, like Spätzle and other things, but I want to start with the Tzatziki because I had the ingredients for a while and it started to getting old. So you can keep it like for 2 or 3 days in the fridge, those herbs, but then you're really gonna use them. So cut the mint as as fine as possible. And add it to the bowl. Okay, where's the spatula? Okay, here's the spatula. So we put in the yogurt. This is not the best one. I see this already. You really want to get the whole milk version to have the best experience and the best taste. This already non-fat is healthy, but not good for tzatziki. Okay, we put that in. So let's clean up a little bit here. So keep your work area as clean as possible. It's just a good habit to clean up once in a while. And at the end, bleach everything. And you should be good for the next dish. So the way we prepare the garlic, I mean, you can use, if you don't have garlic or if you don't want to go through the whole garlic thing, there is at Dual on 6th Street and 1st Avenue, they have this pre-made garlic paste. I just use it, doesn't want to use it for tzatziki because I always think the fresh garlic is definitely the better choice. So you want to break out those little guys. Yeah, so how much garlic you want to use is really up to you. You can use the whole thing. They're recommending, 5 garlic cloves, medium size. It really depends on your personal taste. So don't make it too spicy, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put it 7 or 8 because they're not that large, so they're small. So the best way to crack them open is like whack them a little bit like such, and then just remove the peel. Give them a little gentle touch, and the peel comes right off. So let's see how that's. Yeah, it tastes nice. You want to buy the garlic fresh too. So the fresher the better, because otherwise it's like, if this is sitting around for a few months, don't use it for tzatziki. Use it for something else. These kind of raw, fresh dishes, you want ingredients as fresh as possible. That's the key to everything. So if you can, but now you can't. If you can, then shop, the day before. But these days, I try to go out just only once a week right now. Not sick. I just keep in self-isolation. I had a little bit of a flu-like symptoms like 3-4 weeks ago, and I had a date with a friend set up, which I canceled, and was home for a week, and then I got better, and then I got sick again with a sore throat. I didn't have a cough. I had a little bit shortness of breath, but it was really minor, so I have no idea if this was a bad flu, a bad cold, or if it was coronavirus. I definitely stayed in, and then we'll see if we develop any additional symptoms. Alrighty, so the way I put the garlic in is you need one of those little things, I don't know what they're called, and grater. So I'm grating the garlic into it, That's the best way to do it because you want it as fine as possible. If you don't have one of those, you have to mince the garlic, which we're doing with the leftovers here. The one, be careful with those guys. You can easily scratch your skin, and that's a nasty scratch because this stuff is really sharp. So don't grate it down to the very end because sooner or later you're gonna catch your skin, and you don't want that. Believe me, I did it a couple of times. It takes forever to heal. So if it falls apart or if it doesn't get, if it feels like unstable, stop grating and put it on the side and mince it and put it back in later. So this one, if you have that batch of tzatziki that lasts, you can keep that in the fridge for 2 or 3 weeks, no problem. Just make sure the temperature is correct, cold. Yeah. So if this is left over, what you need in order to really mince that nicely is put a little coarse salt on it. The kosher salt has to be coarse salt, of course. And then you mince it. Cut it as small as possible. And the salt helps you, when you do this and kind of mash it down, the salt works a little bit like sandpaper, so it grinds the garlic into smaller paste-like state, then it doesn't blend in. You don't really want to bite on any kind of big garlic pieces when you eat tzatziki. It should be creamy and it should be smooth. So okay. You don't need to overdo it. Just cut it, small. And then put that into the mix. Clean your utensils as usual. So this is a really nice knife I got in Chinatown. They have it on Chef Supply, on Houston and Bowery. It's inexpensive and it's really, really nice to do all kind of little bottle opening and, remove the plastic and also break out the garlic cloves. And then the truth of a line, I usually get the seeds out of the way. You can use lime too, but it's more like a lemon dish. So squeeze it in like that, and the seeds, if there are any left, they should stay in, and if not, they drop out and you see them, and you can remove them right away. So one came out. And good thing is, like, it does little measurement tools. It's really easy to remove something like this. So that's the way to do it. And then a little bit of cayenne pepper. So I just put really a very small, it's like a half a tablespoon. That's what I like. You can use a little less, a little more, but 1 tablespoon cayenne should be good enough. So you can mix it up a little bit, but we're waiting for the cucumbers to dehydrate, and then we put those guys in. So let that sit for a little while. So you see, it's like kind of quite some water came out, so you can discard that. And then what you do is you take some paper towel. If you have a cloth, it's better, but I don't have a cloth, so we're using some paper towel. Putting the cucumber in there, and then we just like wring it like such and get the rest of the water out. You definitely want to get rid of them. All right, so once we have that, we put that into the mix. So like I said, a cloth would be a lot better, but that'll do. And then you mix it up and re-season it. So don't put any salt in to begin with, because we salted the cucumber so much. It should be probably be the right amount. But like I said, I mean, the yogurt is key. So if you don't have the right yogurt, you're probably not gonna wind up with good tzatziki. So let's see let's see how it is. It's very garlicky, a little thin because fat-free yogurt. Put a little bit more salt in. Be careful with the salt. Go easy on the salt. Then I have one of those plastic containers. This is where it stays fresh for at least 2 weeks. So you can make a nice batch at once and then keep eating. Alrighty then. So tzatziki best served with pita bread. So if you're here in the East Village, you can definitely get pita bread at Duel for a decent price. $2.50 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for 10. So that's 25 cents each. That's a good deal. And you heat it up a little bit. So if you have a gas stove, you're in good shape, because then you can just put it on here like that and get nice burn marks on it. I also have one of those, which is a really nice pan bread. Also got it at Duel on 6th and 1st. So you heat it up a little bit, get some burn marks on it like that. That looks already pretty nice. And keep heating it up and serve. Alrighty, so once it's brown and has nice marks on it, then we just cut it in little wedges. And there you go. That's your tzatziki. Einen guten. Bon Appetit.